A lot of drama engulfed the 2025 Champions Trophy, set to be hosted in Pakistan, the first major tournament in the nation since the 2008 Asia Cup. The political instability of Pakistan hugely contributed to the diminishing visits for cricket tours. Yet, in the recent past, the government has struck the right notes to revive normalcy.
The Champions Trophy 2025 was accepted by all the 7 travelling nations barring one, and that's India. And rightly so, because the political tensions between these two countries have always existed and continues to remain.
After a series of events, Pakistan have finally agreed to play India in a neutral venue, paving the way for a hybrid model being introduced in ICC events going forward.
The question is, now we're asking in Sledge Box, has the BCCI been too bullish to the PCB? Well, that's the topic of discussion. Ever since 1947 and the partition, things have never been smooth between India and Pakistan cricket-wise too. There have been several bilateral series halted or stopped.
For instance, there was a 17-year gap between a test series from 1961 to 1978, where neither of the countries ventured to each other's territory owing to the Bangladesh Liberation War. The Kargil War was the cause of a small pause at the turn of the millennium, while some incidents in the late 2008 and an attack of the visiting Sri Lankan team in the succeeding year literally stamped a prohibition to visit Pakistan. After all, Pakistan have touched Indian soil in 2 of the last ICC events hosted in this region, the 2016 T20 World Cup and the 2023 ICC Cricket World Cup.
I feel this whole Champions Trophy situation reflects badly on the sport because look at it from a practical perspective, putting all biases aside, Pakistan are the hosts. They have been handed the hosting rights. So obviously they'll want India to sort of come and play there, not just India, every country. So if one country is refusing to travel to the host nation to play the big tournament, then a fair sport will ban that country that is sort of, refusing.
Yeah.
It is like, boss, you don't want to come? Fine, we respect your opinion. But you can no longer be a part of the tournament. And that is how a fair sport should be. But in cricket, the financial model is so heavily skewed that India control the sport, let's be honest. So the broadcasters are on India's side, the ICC is on India's side. So Pakistan have no option but to budge.
Now, the main talk about this whole Champions Trophy 2025 is the hybrid model. And the hybrid model robs India of a chance to have Pakistan over in 2026 when they come for the T20 World Cup, or in 2031. But when you talk about these editions, Pakistan fans won't have Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma play in their very own stadiums, which is pretty sad and something that they've always craved for as cricket fans.
So my take here is very simple. I mean, I'm coming from a fan's perspective that no longer do they have to think about, okay, will India travel there or will Pakistan travel to India? All of that nonsense is out of the window. Now they can just focus on which team is better, India or Pakistan. And I think that's a good headache to have now because you don't have to worry about the intangibles. Secondly, I think it is also good for countries which are closer to the host nation. For example, say like if the 2026 World Cup is in India and Sri Lanka, say a team like a country like Sri Lanka, it's good for them because they get to host a good event and it's a neutral audience, so there's no bias and there's no tilt for one team or the other.
I guess agree, but see, just to make one final point, I think ICC are to blame for all this mess because they awarded Pakistan the hosting rights. They knew for a fact that due to the political tension between India and Pakistan, there was no way India will travel to Pakistan. And for India have not traveled to Pakistan in I don't know, God knows how long, 16 years or whatever, I don't know. So ICC knew that India will never travel to Pakistan, and yet they awarded Pakistan the hosting rights. They knew such a situation would arise, and now they are looking like absolute fools, even though apparently they've come to a solution. So I think it's fair to say that this India versus Pakistan thing is a puzzle that will never be solved.
Teams like Australia, England, Sri Lanka and Zimbabwe have paid visits to Pakistan in recent times. But the case is not the same with India. Hot and cold relations have often taken centre stage. Stemming the league for cricket matches on home soil is not what Pakistan have been able to give assurance to its neighbours.
We can't put the blame on the BCCI, can we? The security issues are real.
Even in November this year, the series between Sri Lanka A and Pakistan Shaheens had to be suspended due to political unrest in Islamabad. The visitors had to return midway, and both the boards had to consult to finalize new dates to complete the series.
I stand here by the Christmas tree in terms of our wish list, but the PCB hasn't got theirs in terms of India coming over to play the Champions Trophy. And it just makes you think whether it's a big and bold decision taken by the BCCI. Do you agree with it, disagree with it? Give us your thoughts as a cricket fan. Nonetheless, a Merry Christmas to all of y'all watching this. We'll see you soon.